Hello, ladies and gentlemen. This is your boy Hupsaiya. I'm here to show off a really cool game that I played from my stream earlier today. I'm going to commentate over it, and I'm going to tell you what's going on in my head. So I'm versus fellow streamer Mr. Ruff SC, who is known to be quite a cheesy and creative Terran player. So I come into his base with my probe scout after I build my pylon or my gateway. You can scout with your pylon or your gateway. It really, there's not really big pros or cons to either of them. You just have to do either one. So I come in here and I see that he built a tech lab first. He's gone for the engineering bay block. I build a zealot because I saw that he went for the reactor or tech lab on his barracks instead of a unit first, and that's why I chrono boosted the zealot. So I pull 5 probes to go kill the engineering bay block, and I send the zealot across the map to hopefully deny a low ground command center. We go for an adept first, since we want to send a unit across the map as quickly as possible to back up the zealot. And we're going to drop our nexus as quickly as we can. So our second gas geyser does not start until after our warp gate and our nexus is started. And then we go for our tech building, whether it be Twilight Council, Robo, or Stargate. It's always going to be your warp gate first when you get eBay blocked, because you have to delay your second gas geyser. I get here with the zealot, and our main goal, like I said, is just try and delay this command center as long as possible. I make a pretty large mistake here, and I don't start a stalker right away. You can see I'm floating quite a lot of money right now. I don't have any probes building. I don't have a gateway unit building. And it's because I'm so hyper-focused on this zealot and this adept, which is a big mistake, admittedly. Definitely something that I need to work on is my inability to look away from micro tasks and my inability to detangle myself from immediate, urgently, available tasks. I need to save the zealot as much as possible. So I know that it's the Marauders. I make a shield battery in the low ground. I'm making a stalker and 2 extra gateways. And I'm building a second stalker and chrono boosting it. Now that our stalkers build 3 seconds faster, it does make defending against this kind of stuff a lot easier. You see here, I hold on to the high ground so that I can get the first shot on him here. And unfortunately, I do lose my adept, so maybe that wasn't the greatest idea ever, but we do get the snipe on that Marauder. He sends the 2 Hellions in the main. I pulled the probes from the natural to focus fire those Marauders down there, because I know his attention can only be in one position at once, and like we have noticed here, I'm killing the Marauders. He's going to kill quite a few workers of mine. As you can see here, I lose 7 workers, I think. Yeah, 7 workers go down here. That's pretty rough for me, but it's roughly in my favor because he's losing quite a lot more resources than I did, and I delayed his command center. So as you can see down here, he's got no workers mining, which is a really good thing for me. So from this point, I'm very aware and certain that he doesn't have a starport anytime soon, since the Marauders coming out with the tech lab on the barracks is a big gas expenditure, and then the Hellions came out of a reactored factory. So I know it's most likely that he doesn't have the gas to start a starport really fast, as well as that command center on the low ground, in which case I wasn't too worried, and I felt like I just needed to probe up as much as possible. I go for my Robo. It's a little bit late, but the game state is pretty rough for us right now. As you can see, I'm only 4 workers ahead of my opponent right now, and that's because we lost 7 probes to that aggression. My blink finished, and I moved out with the stalkers so that I could go try and smother my opponent as he moves across the map if he's doing some kind of marine siege tank pressure. And these widow mines at my 3rd base surprised me quite a lot when they denied my 3rd there. And unfortunately, I do end up losing a stalker. But we get over here across the map, and we see that he has a Thor. And I know that Ruff is a player that really likes to do these Thor plus SCV push pulls. And I get ready to intercept this in the middle of the map. Unfortunately, I hit a couple of really bad supply blocks because my multitasking just wasn't on point. But it's alright. You're going to see here that the Thors are ready to go. And I'm just going to value not losing units here. If you can, it's nice to try and pick off an SCV or those Widow Mines that are walking across the map with the Thors. I'm going to drop down a second pylon and an extra shield battery, because a lot of the times what happens in these situations is that your opponent will just focus fire your shield battery down, and Thors do a lot of damage. I think they do something like 50 plus damage a hit to anything that has armored, so buildings are all armored, and that really hurts a lot. I make it immortal because we absolutely have to have an immortal. Immortals do bonus damage versus armored units, which is the Thor. And the Thor is a super high HP target that we absolutely have to be careful about. So in this situation, I focus fired the Widow Mines when I could, but he has the Drilling Claw upgrade, which made it pretty hard to get any snipes on those. I do a bit of a flub blink there. You see here, my observer came in from behind his army. I didn't have my observer with my army this game. I had my observer on an extra hotkey at all times so that I could move it around and get vision. And I didn't want it here in front of his army because I know that his whole game plan is to snipe my detection, so I can't deal with the Widow Mines easily. So I knew when I was against this player that I needed to spend a lot more attention on keeping that observer alive. So I always put it on a second hotkey line versus this player. So we have the Immortal now. And you saw there that I did a little micro move, and I moved the Immortal out of the way so that it would take the Widow Mine shots. And he does focus fire all of the Widow Mines onto the Immortal instead of on my Stalkers. And I really think that he probably should have focus fired onto the Stalkers to force me to blink. And you can see here that I have plenty of damage to take down those Thors. And from here, we're just going to macro up. We're getting an extra observer. I dropped the 2 forges because I know that my opponent's most likely playing Mech with the setup of his production from this point. He's made lots of Widow Mines and the Thors, so I knew he was probably on 2 factories since you need a tech lab to build the Thors and you need a reactor to build the Hellions and the Widow Mines. So it was pretty obvious that he had multiple factories and we knew he was playing Mech, and that's why I dropped the double forge and I didn't feel too uncomfortable with my need to defend in the mid game. And my observer goes out on the map, and we're chasing around these Widow Mines, which are very annoying, but it's no big deal. Remember, you can start a cannon if you'd like to. I put cannons into my mineral lines here because I was a little bit worried that maybe he was going for the Drilling Claw Widow Mine drop style, which is pretty popular when people play Mech like this. They really like to get those medevacs filled with Widow Mines, and they just dive bomb them into your mineral line and they kill you. So I saw that he's gone for Mech here. Like, we knew that he's going for a Mech setup, and he's trying to get his 3rd base. And I didn't feel super comfortable pressing in immediately with the units that I had because I know that my unit count's quite low, and I've gone for the double forge, and I know I need to buy a lot of time, essentially, for those forge upgrades to pay off. So I go for the 4th base as well as a 5th base at the same time because we know that most Mech players take a very long time to move across the map and kill us. And this let me know that I could build my economy to the point where I could have like 80 plus probes as long as I just only mined minerals. So you're going to see here I don't get the gas geysers on the 3rd base or the 4th base or the 5th base for a very long time. Continue to chrono boost our upgrades because against Mech, +2 attack and +2 armor are very valuable on your Zealots, since Zealots start with a base armor point and they're going to be your main tanking unit. So they're very valuable in that they can stay alive a lot longer than essentially every other unit that Protoss has versus these heavy damage units that Mech represents. I'm just constantly probing as much as possible. And you can see here that my economy has pulled way far ahead of our opponent Ruff because he just doesn't have that staying power as far as macro is concerned. And you can see that unfortunately for him, we're like 11 minutes into the game now, and he only has 50 workers. He does drop a planetary fortress on his 3rd base, which I was a little bit surprised about. And like I said, here we go. I'm putting down cannons on the extra bases since I'm really a little bit paranoid about those Widow Mine drops that may or may not be coming because I haven't been able to get inside of his base. So I just keep leaving the observer on the edge of his base here, and I use the surveillance mode so that I can see a little deeper in and see maybe what his units are. And what I'm trying to do here is hit a +2/+2 timing attack because this is like a very strong timing point for anti-Mech play. I did go for the 6th base here, and this is essentially so that I can be as close as possible to where his 4th or 5th base is going to be. A lot of the times Terran will take this front base here as their 4th, and they will take the 5th base here, but I'm a lot further ahead than I thought I was this game. So I didn't actually need to do this. You can see that I'm really far ahead in the supply right now. I go for the fleet beacon as a follow-up, and I started +1 attack on the air just in case I needed to transition into something like Tempest to deal with battle cruisers or something like that. But my main plan here is to hit a big A move timing as he moves out to take his 4th base, because that's pretty much your win condition versus Mech, is slamming and killing the Terran player before they can establish that 4th base, or at least forcing some catastrophic trading as they take their fourth, because you really want that high count of siege tanks to get whittled down. And most of the time when players on almost every map in the map pool, the fourth base is very wide open, big open wide area, right? We have this fourth base here, and there's a tremendous amount of space around this. This one's a little more tucked in, but you can still attack from 2 angles here and have a very nice arc. And as you can see, I'm just postured here outside of his third base. I'm being very patient. I've got those upgrades coming. I do have 3-3 on the way. He does unfortunately kill my observer there, and I just got a little impatient, and I just moved in here because I thought maybe he was coming to land the command center, and we just absolutely crush him because, unfortunately for him, he's trying to go for this 6-starport transition. There's absolutely no way he could have afforded this, by the way, so it's just absurd that he tried to do this. And as you can see, I'm just constantly maxed out. I have 17 gateways. I still only have 4 gas geysers. We've gone up to 90 probes. And like I said, the whole plan here is you just shove, right? You just shove with maximum efficiency on the gateway units. They're not super effective against what he's making, but you can have such an overwhelming supply advantage at these early stages of the game that there's essentially nothing the mech players can do unless they're playing battle mech. If you're playing against a mech player and they're playing battle mech by massing Hellions and Cyclones and siege tanks, and they aren't trying to skip into a heavy tech composition, then you can crush them with this playstyle really easily. Against battle mech, I am a little BM here because I felt like he was being a little bit of a turd staying in the game when literally all he has is 3 battlecruisers. So as you can see here, we absolutely crushed him. And like I said, if you're against battle mech, you are going to have to play a little bit differently. You might need to go for something like a splash damage type, such as Psystorm or the Disruptor. Psystorm and the Disruptor are both very effective against mass Cyclone and mass Hellion, and that's what you do in those circumstances. But as you can see here, we absolutely crush him. Thank you so much for watching. GG. Thank you so much. Hit the like button, thumbs up, subscribe. Peace.